say it's not logical, it's psychological. That in fact a revolutionary is not a revolutionary because of his theory. He's a revolutionary because of whatever his instincts are, and the theory comes as a rationalization after the fact.
Lenin joined with Julius Martov and other St. Petersburg socialists to form an underground group to agitate among the factory workers. They distributed leaflets in the factories and then met at night with workers to listen to their grievances. At one of these meetings, Lenin met his future bride, a dedicated radical school teacher named Nadyezhda Krupskaya.
See photographs of her, she looks plain looking in her way. Not repulsive by any means, but sort of, serious looking, dull looking person. And you don't get much in the way of tenderness in anything he writes about her. They seem to have got on perfectly well. And she was devoted to him and helped him in every way.
Between romance and propaganda, Lenin's socialists got careless and admitted a police informant into their circle. Soon the group was arrested, and 26-year-old Lenin was sent to prison. For a hereditary nobleman like Lenin, imprisonment under the Tsar wasn't bad. He had regular visitors and could receive food, books, and clothing. In fact, in prison, Lenin continued writing his revolutionary pamphlets. Krupskaya became a frequent visitor, smuggling messages from the outside to him, hidden in book bindings or written in invisible ink. At the end of his 14-month prison sentence, Lenin was sentenced to an additional 3 years' exile in Siberia. Again, it was not a severe punishment. Lenin would be free to hunt, fish, and continue writing his revolutionary tracts, all the while supported by a government pension. Krupskaya was arrested a year later and allowed to join him, provided they married. She took her mother along with her, and the three settled in together in a rented house. Here, Lenin honed his theory of revolution.
Lenin became convinced that the revolution in Russia had to be sparked by leadership, organization, propaganda, so forth, all very consciously from the top down.
Lenin's revolutionary writings were sent out under a variety of pseudonyms. First he signed VU for Vladimir Ulyanov. A year later he signed K. Toulon, a name derived from the town of Tula. In 1898, he was V.I. Ilyin. The next year, he was Petrov. Not until 1901 did he sign his name Lenin. Some say derived from the river Lena in Siberia. Others suggest that it's from his middle name, Ilyich. By the end of his 3 years in exile, 30-year-old Lenin was anxious to organize his revolutionary elite. He left Russia, where he would be closely watched, and moved to Munich, home of the German socialists. There, he published his first underground paper called Iskra, the Spark. It was smuggled back into Russia by Lenin's supporters, most notably by a young Georgian named Joseph Jugasvili, later known as Stalin. Every one of Lenin's articles were bombastic attacks on anyone who disagreed with him, especially fellow socialists.
He would call them sniveling toadies of the bourgeoisie, for example, or he would call them, lackeys or lapdogs or something like that, just because of some minor theoretical difference he may have had with him. Because for Lenin, there were two kinds of people. There were comrades and there were enemies.
In 1903, when the Russian socialists held a congress in Brussels, Lenin launched an insulting attack and got one faction of socialists to walk out of the meeting. Then he gained